journaling tag. I'm totally a lover of journaling, and I think it's so important to record your life in one way or the other. I'm not really tagging anyone just because I don't know who of you is keeping a journal, but I hope you will see this tag and will want to do it. Yeah, I'm so excited. I have a lot to talk about with you. First question is, which kind of journaling do you do? And I already have a long answer to this one because I do a lot. I have a 5-year journal where I can write down a little bit about my day, just 5 lines or so. I also do Project 365. It's a photo a day, and I do it for 1.5 years. I did it in 2008 already, and now with smartphones it's so much easier. Yeah, it's my photographic soul. I really like to record my days in picture form. It's also really nice because it's something my partner can take part in as well. It's our Project 365 and everything we do. I also have a normal journal written, but I don't use it as often, and I also like to have an online journal. The thing is, keeping a journal online is the absolute easiest for me. I have had a life journal for 6 years or so. I had 2-3 years where I wrote every day or several times every day, and I had this awesome habit. Every time when something happened, I logged into Life Journal and I wrote what happened and my feelings to it. And because writing is so fast, I really could get deep into everything, and those journals are so much more important to me than all my written journals I ever took. So I should do another video about the pros and cons of online versus offline journaling. Oh yeah, I have so much to say about it. So much. And I also keep sketchbooks. At the moment not as much, but from time to time, and so those are my visual journals as well. So much stuff. Can you tell I'm obsessed with recording memories? Yeah, you can. Question number 2. Do you have different journals for different topics? I don't really have different journals for different topics, but I had a journal where I only wrote when I was extremely sad and anxious, and yeah, that's my depression journal. I also had a dream journal in the past, and I think specific journals are really great, but I tend to don't fill them up. So I really hate having thousands of journals at the same time, so most of the time I'm writing everything in one. Question number 3. When have you started journaling? And I started in primary school. I got a journal, I think, from my aunt for a birthday. It was a little journal and I wrote super stupid things in it, and unfortunately the pages all tore apart because it wasn't a great spine thing. It was just glued in, and so they all came apart, and maybe I lost them all, or maybe they are at my parents' house in the attic in some boxes, I don't know. Question number 4. How often do you journal? I write only when I think there's something to write about, and I think it's bad. I think you should journal every day, and you should journal everything that happens, because those little moments are the most exciting ones if you read it again a few years later. So yeah, I should do it more. Question number 5. What are your favorite tools for journaling? My favorite tool at the moment for online journaling is Evernote. I have my own journal notebook, and I have all my journaling in it, and I can search through it, and I can sort them by date and everything. It's great. I can insert pictures. I make my daily journal entry, and then I take a picture of myself with my webcam and insert it into the journal entry, because I really like to see what have I looked like in what moment of time. And it's really funny because you kind of remember everything better if you see the picture to it. So yeah, I like to do that. For offline journaling, I like to use Moleskine notebooks. They are not called Moleskine. I think they are called Moleskine, but I say Moleskine. And for journaling, I think that lined paper is best. Usually I buy blank paper books, but I think for journaling it looks so much neater when you have lines. And yeah, as my pens go, I really like Uniball eye pencils in black. They are one of the only really waterproof pencils out there. Try to not journal in normal ink. All my journals I have written with normal blue school ink. They are so bleached out and I hardly can read it anymore. Try to use something that's archival. Those are really great and they flow so nicely on the pages. Another one is I have a fountain pen and it's filled with waterproof ink for fountain pens. You can't get just every ink in it because it will clog everything. I think this is Noodler's black ink and I got it from eBay, and it's, if you live in the US then it's easy to get. If you live somewhere else, I have nothing I can recommend. But use waterproof pens, that's the most important thing. If your stuff gets wet, if it molds somehow, at least the pages won't bleed. Really important. For my photo journaling, I use the app Vignette. For Android, I use Polaroid frames that are square, and I like them really colorful, so I have my own filter for it. Would you like to show us some of your journals? Absolutely! I don't have as many with me because, as I said, most of my journaling I've done online. I have a few Moleskines here. Can I show you some pages? I just like to write. And write. I don't like to mix art journaling and normal journaling. This was one of my first journals. It's the Diddle Mouse and it's a famous cartoon mouse. And as you can see, it's so hard to read. Really old stuff. Then I have another super embarrassing journal. It's Gute Zeiten, Schlechte Zeiten. It's a German soap opera and they broadcast since 1992. 22 years already, every night. I was a real big fan in my teenage years. I got this journal for a birthday, and what was really funny is that I had a secret language writing style. That's super awesome. I also like these kind of books, paper blanks. I don't know if you get them everywhere, but they are everywhere in Germany at least. And they are really nice. They have really beautiful paper. A lot more beautiful than the Moleskines. Moleskines don't have good paper. That's the only downside to them. My 5-year journals, the normal one and the one with prompts in it, I can recommend those. And that's my normal current journal, but I don't use it as often. Here I worked at Lush, and that was my running route for quite a time. And filming a music video, or out with my parents, and so many stuff. Funny things to do in restaurants, looking at flats. Can you see my Crew SpongeBob bag? Woohoo! Question number 7. Why do you do it? I think it's so important to keep a journal. There were parts of my life I had already forgotten, and God, you only live once. I want to remember what I did and what people I met and how I felt about them. And it's so nice going through your old journals. I feel like the years where I haven't journaled, they are so lost because I can't remember them anymore. And the years I journaled, I just know everything and every relationship I had, friends and acquaintances and colleagues, and it's all so much more vivid, and I have so much more memory of them in my heart, and it's beautiful. I love journaling. I feel bad for people who don't journal because I think they lose all this, and you only not remember, but you remember totally different if you don't write it down. It's so cloudy in your memory and everything changes, and you think you remember correctly but you don't, and that's so funny to see. Also, your writing style gets so much better. I'm not in school anymore, so I don't have to write really. I just don't, and it's hard for me to even hold my pen sometimes. The words just doesn't flow anymore. They are so hard to get out, and if you journal, especially if you're still in school, it helps you so much in your language classes, and if you have to write essays or something, it's totally easy for someone who writes journals, because you don't have fear to start. You just write and write and write, and yeah, it's a really important skill, I think. Question number 8. How has journaling influenced your life? I would say I'm much more grateful for the things I have. I appreciate every part of life so much more, because if you look back, you see the bigger picture, like how everything fit together, and being okay with myself and exploring myself and exploring how I feel about things and what I want, and about the people who are good for me and the people I hate on in my journals, the people I should stay away from, let's face it. Number 9. What topics do you like to journal about? I like to journal mostly about my day and what happened, about the people I spent time with, about the conversations we had. I really like journaling funny conversations or insider jokes and something like that, because when I read them years later, it's so beautiful and I'm so happy. And I also like to journal dreams. I like to journal what I eat at the moment, or just what's normal at the moment. Like, for example, if we make pancakes every day, or if we watch certain TV shows. Yeah, I like to journal what movies I watched, what TV shows we watched, what books I read, and I like to journal how I feel and what's wrong with me or what's good. I like to journal about my love and what I love about my partner, and about everything that interests me, about my favorite songs, books that influenced me, and things I learned, or what I bought that day, or everything. Question number 10. How do you make time for journaling? I would say do it before you go to bed, because then the day is over and you can write your review on the day. What I heard someone say is do it in your breaks, in your meal breaks. For example, eat your meal and then sit down and journal, so that you have time for it, and it's also not so much of a wasted time, because there's always this break you need from work or whatever. I would also say just keep your journal handy and write whenever you have a few minutes time. When I journal on my computer, I just journal at the moment I think about something, and then I open my program and type a few sentences, and you can do it over the day, and eventually it will fill up. Last question, question number 11. Do you have tips for people who want to start the habit? I would say just try to do it regularly. Do it every day, and do it only short, only a few sentences, 2, 3. Just really short, just every day, and try to tie it to another habit you already have. For example, if you like to get out really early and drink your tea and don't like to be in a hurry, then drink your tea and write your journal. Or if you have to be on the train every day, then write your journal on the train. Just connect it to something you already do and where you have a bit of spare time. I would also say just write everything, as unimportant as it seems. It's your life, and even if you write about your cornflakes or something, in 10 years from now, it will already be so historical and you will find it amazing to read about it. It will evolve after time, and you will see that you love to write about certain aspects and you don't like to write about other aspects, and that's totally okay. It's your journal. You just do what you want and have fun with it. And yeah, as I said, I won't take anyone. Leave your videos down below if you do the tag, and I'm super excited to read about all your journaling experiences. And yeah, see you soon everyone. Bye and happy journaling.